Hello everyone and welcome back to our Excel tutorial. In this particular video, we are going to learn about cell referencing. So now that you already know about how to navigate in Excel, customize our tools and also use some of the shortcuts that we learned in our previous videos. If you haven't, please go and check them out. Let's learn something very important, that is cell referencing. Cell referencing, basically means how Excel understands which cell we are talking about inside a formula. And there are three different types of cell referencing. One is relative cell referencing, absolute cell referencing, and mixed cell referencing. And we'll be taking them one by one. Let's start with relative cell referencing. So a relative cell referencing basically means that when you copy a formula from one cell to another cell, the Excel automatically adjusts the row and the column number. What does that mean typically? So if you see, I'll give you with a very simple example. If I write A2 over here, let's say I want to write equals, or let's do it with an example using some numbers. It will be, even more handy for you to understand. Let's write some numbers over here. And I'm going to apply a formula over here, okay? Because cell referencing typically works with formulas and to make your life easier with the formulas. That's why. Let's write equals, because whenever you want to write a formula, you always have to start with an equal sign. That is how Excel interprets whatever you are writing in a cell as a formula, all right? So I'll write here, I'll just select my cells. I want to add the two numbers, all right? So I'll just say A5 plus B5. Now the answer should be 30. We know that. I'll give some more numbers over here. So if I write 30 and 40 over here, what happens to this cell when I just drag it down? If I drag it down, my answer will be 70. Why? Because here Excel automatically changed the cell reference. If you see, the row and the column numbers automatically changed how you copied the same formula to the next cell. Okay, so depending on what was the previous method or previous procedure you have used, it will change the formula accordingly. And this is how Excel behaves in a default setting, and it is usually useful when we want the same formula applied to many rows or columns. So it is a very handy and a very beautiful tool is what I'll say. Okay, now moving on to the next one, that is absolute cell referencing. Now, what is absolute cell referencing? This means that the cell reference does not change when copied. All right. So typically, when you saw in the relative cell referencing, it was changing the numbers automatically as a default setting. In absolute, it will remain absolute, like the word suggests. Okay, it will not change if and only if you lock the cell how absolute referencing has to be done. Let's again see it with an example. So let's say I want to again type some numbers over here, 10 and 20. And let's write here 30 and 40 again. Okay. And let's go back to this particular cell and let's try the absolute cell referencing. In absolute cell referencing, you need to lock. So how do we lock a cell, or how do we lock a particular reference? So again, I'll start with an equal sign. Suppose I want to keep this A15 logged. That means this has to remain same and rest others can change. So how will I lock it? Let me show you this by writing. I'll use a dollar sign in front of A and a dollar sign in front of 15. Okay. If you use a dollar sign in front of the column number and the row number, it will stay intact. It will not change. It will be absolute. All right. And now you can do whatever operation you wanted to do. If I write here a plus sign, and let's say I just want to write B15. My answer would be 30, because right now it is 10 plus 20. What happens if I copy this particular cell? So if I copy this particular cell to the next one, it will change to 50. What is happening over here? 40 is getting added to 10. Why? Because my A15 is fixed. If you see here, my A15 is fixed. A15 is fixed, only B is changing. That means previously it was B15, now it is B60. And similarly, it will go on and it will keep changing. All right. So just keep it same and sorry. That is how your absolute cell referencing works. Now let's come to the next. I'll just make it back to normal. Yes. Let's come to mixed cell referencing. Also remember that absolute cell referencing are used when we want a constant value like a fixed tax rate or a commission rate, or there is an exchange rate, anything which is a fixed value, right? And that must not move when we copy the formula. So for any type of fixed value, we keep it safe. Okay, so that is why, and that is the use case of having the absolute cell referencing. Now let's come to mixed cell referencing. By definition, mixed cell referencing is a combination where either the row or the column is locked. Any of these, either row or the column. It will not be $A, $50. It can be $A50. So only the column is getting locked. All right. Let's see it with an example. Remember that not both the items will not get locked. Only one of them will get locked. All right. So let's see how do we go about it. So let's say I have a value 20, I have a value 30 over here. And the next, I'll just put in some values, 40. Any random values we can try. And let's see how do we fix it. First, learning the fixing part equals $. And since it is A27, right? So I'll just fix A, not 27. So I'm not fixing 27. It will remain same, remember. Okay. And now I want to just add it with, let's say, this value. What should be the answer? 50. Now let's drag it down. What is the answer here? 100. So what is happening? Only my A was fixed. That means my column was fixed, not the row. So 40 got added to 60 because both the values could change. Clear? So this is useful in creating multiplication tables. You will usually use it for multiplication or cross-referencing. I just gave you an example using an addition. We'll see in this video itself how we are going to do it with, complicated data and how we are going to use multiplication and cross-referencing as well. But just to make you understand how to write it, I did a simple formula using an addition. All right. So what happens over here is it locks one side of the formula while allowing the other side to move. It can move, it can change, and it can dynamically change its value as well. Only one side of the formula will remain same. All right. Also, instead of typing the $sign again and again, like doing it manually, instead of that, you can always use the F4 key. So when editing a cell reference, press F4 simply to cycle between your relative cell referencing to absolute cell referencing to mixed cell referencing. Whatever you want to do, you can just simply do it. All right. So that's about your relative, absolute, and mixed cell referencing. We'll also see it with example data sets so that we can also work around with that. All right. So to summarize, what is relative cell referencing? Relative cell referencing changes when copied. Okay. Absolute cell referencing will stay the same no matter what. And mixed cell referencing locks either row or the column. I hope this is clear to all of you. Also, shortcut. So let's just see the shortcut also in a bit. So here, let's say I want to just apply, I'm just applying the same formula. Let's try that. Suppose I want to just give this, add with this. This is a simple formula that I'm applying to add the two of them. Now, if I want to simply use my shortcut key and I want to, cycle between any of these, the relative, the absolute, and the mixed cell referencing, I'm simply pressing F4 from my keyboard. So I'll press F4, you will see that it is changing. Do you see that? It will cycle between what you're doing. Okay. So suppose if I just write 15 and I don't want to put the dollar sign manually, I can just simply do this. And I can keep on writing my other formula as well. Okay. So that's about it. You can just keep on going, keep, whatever you want to do. So it's up to you how you're going to use it. I typically would like use formulas using my shortcuts because that gives me an edge and make my work really efficient. So I can do something instead of doing it manually, I can do it very, very fast as well. Now, let's move on to data set. We'll now create a sample data set, okay? And then we'll try and work around with that. How does that data work and how it looks like. So let's get started with that. Okay, there you go. So I'm just going to create a very, very simple data set. So we'll, and let's say it is a sales with tax calculation. All right. So I'm going to write product. We'll make different columns. Product. Let's keep it price, then quantity. We can go for total. So total would be my P times Q, that is price into quantity. And yeah, we can also have a tax. Okay. And let's keep the tax to, let's say, 18%. And we'll go for a final price as well. Okay. So now this is our simple setting of the data. Let's put in some numbers in it. First product can be pen. Second can be pencil. Simple data set. Notebook. And a marker. All right. And let's go for the prices as well. So I'm going to give 10, 5, 50, and a 20. Simple data entry we are doing. Quantities can be 5. This can be 10. Just put some random numbers. You can do it along with me as well. That's why I'm doing it in front of you. Now, let's go for the calculation. All right. We'll just keep this fixed rate. That is our tax. This we'll keep it somewhere over here. Okay. I'm going to put 18%. All right. So let's just put 18 over there. So now let's get started. So first we'll get the total. Okay. So I want to get the total price, that is price multiplied by quantity. So I would give you 5 seconds to guess which cell referencing are we going to use over here. In such cases, we typically use relative cell referencing. I hope you all have guessed it correctly. Here, we'll use a relative cell referencing. My price will be multiplied to the quantity. So I'll just use the cell of price and the cell of quantity and get the answers over here. Similarly, I'll just simply drag it so that rest of it gets calculated. Next, I want to calculate my tax. Now remember, the tax is always fixed, right? So when the tax is fixed, that means this particular cell, that is H1, should remain fixed throughout. All right. And it should calculate the tax on each of these items or the total quantity of these items. So we'll just press equals and I'm going to select my P3. Okay. You can just simply do it. Multiply it with H1. Now, I don't want it to be relative because it's not changing, right? It will remain same for such quantities or for such items. So I'm going to write my $sign, H, $sign and 1, or simply you can use your formula, your shortcut as well. And now my 18% is fixed. So first X is 9. If I just simply drag the formula, it will calculate the tax for all of them. Okay. So what happened when I copied down the formula, the H1 did not change. It was fixed. Rather, the other values were changing, all right, because it was absolute. So this is an example of absolute cell referencing. Now, to get the final price, we'll use the mixed reference. Why we are going to use the mixed reference over here? So here, in simple, because we want to simply add, so I'll just simply use my equal sign and this value and the other value, that is my E value, the E column value. So here we are just simply going to use it like this. And I'll just drag the formulas. Once I should get the values of this particular cell as well. Yeah, there you go. And enter. Now, this one, it is final price. So it's just simply showing me this, we'll just simply use it. But to practice mixed referencing, we can simply try one idea, which is use equals. And I keep my values fixed. Okay. So let's say I want to keep my prices or the column B fixed. Okay. And the row can change. I want to keep that. And the quantities as well. What I'm going to do is I'll keep my row fixed, but the column to be changing. So how can I do and how can I go about it? Let's see. Okay. So let's start. Equals. Now, since it is mixed cell referencing, our table will not give you some, I would say some logical answers, because in this one, we might not be able to use our mixed cell referencing, but I'm just showing you for an example, how is it working? Okay. So let's try dollar and we'll keep B3. So now what will happen? My B will remain fixed, but my row will change. So from 3, it will become 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. Okay. Remember that. And let's just multiply it with the other one, which is C3. Okay. Now in C3, I'll keep C changing. It can change C, D, E, F, like that. It can keep on changing, but my row will remain same. So I put dollar and I can simply write E over here because that is my cell reference. Answer is 50. What is happening here? 10 is getting multiplied by. What is the next? So next would be, if I just drag it down, you will see it is changing. How? In the next one, what happened is B is obviously fixed. So 10 is fixed, but the row is changing, right? Column is okay, but the row is changing. So my row became 5. And then what is the next one? C3. So C and the third row. Column is C, but the third row. So row will always remain same, but the column can change. So here 5 is getting multiplied by 5. That is why the answer is 25. In the next one, what do you see? First, again, since B was fixed, so B remained as it is, but 5 changed. So if you see here, it is 50. And then it multiplies by, again, same value, C3, because it is same, right? Similarly, you go on and you check the other one, which is 20 multiplied by 5. So if you can guess it, this is how. I'll show you a very good example of using. Okay, so now that we have an overview of different types of cell referencing, I'm just going to give you one more example of each one of them. Okay, so over here I have students' data. I have the marks of the students, Alex, Ben, and Chloe. In test 1 and test 2, we have been given with the marks. We just need to find the total of them. For total, obviously, we'll be using relative cell referencing, like we know. So simple total would be adding the two numbers. So that means the two cells. And I'll just press enter, and maybe I'll just simply copy that the entire data. Now, when you have like 50 or hundreds of students, this is a very simple method to do the entire task. All right. So that is an example of how you can use your relative cell referencing. Remember that relative cell referencing is Excel's default setting. Okay. And it is a case wherein it allows the cell referencing to move by default to the other cell references. Okay. Moving on to the next topic, that is the absolute cell referencing. Now in absolute cell referencing, we simply do few things. All right. Here I'm going to convert my price into INR. So I have been given the item, the price is in USD, and then I have the price in, I want to find the price in INR, that is Indian rupee. So I'll just put some number over here, whatever is the price of $1. Okay, so let's say $1 is about 85 rupees. Okay, that means I need to multiply each of these things to this 85 over here. What am I going to do? I'll simply use equals, and I want to multiply this value which is in the column B, and that can change because book, pen and backpack, all of them has to change, right? So I'll just press B2 because it can be relative. It does not need to be absolute. And I'll press my multiplication sign, the asterisk. And now I want my absolute cell referencing. So which is why I'll use my dollar sign and E1. Since it is E1, so I'll start with E, dollar sign and 1. Okay, simple. Now we have the value in INR as well. Similarly, when I just drag it down, I can simply see that each of these values changed, right? Now, we'll give another example of a mixed cell referencing. So for the mixed cell referencing, let me just make this table a little bit clearer for you so that you can understand. We're just doing a simple cross multiplication over here, but you will get a gist of how this works, or how mixed cell referencing works. So let's understand this. Here I have given 3 names. Let's say there are 3 sales executives, Alice, Bob and Carol, and they have their targets also, target 1, target 2 and target 3. Okay, and depending on that they'll get their incentives. Okay, so that is what we are doing. Okay, so in your column, this one, in your column B, you have the sales target, and here in this row you have their commission rates fixed. Okay, now what we are going to do, so over here we'll first find out a few things. Okay, that is, let's just apply a very simple formula, and to make it more clear to you, now that you know that we have Alice and we have the sales managers and we have the targets over here. So I'll just remove this data so that you don't get confused. I'm going to just delete